Well, episode 0. Here we are, guys. Big things coming.
Yeah.
First ever podcast.
Big things.
Holy shit. This is amazing.
It's amazing.
How you feeling, guys?
Excellent.
What's going on?
I'm feeling pretty sugared up now.
Yeah, all these lollies in front of us. I mean, my mate Goku here, he's about to turn Super Saiyan, the amount of sugar he's had. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
So-
Beautiful morning.
Who are we? What are we doing? Oh, my name's Johnny, as you may know. Like, I play for ColourMind.
I'm Mel from Ashes of Autumn.
My name's Jordan and I'm playing Belgravia and I like lollies.
Yeah, lollies are good, but Belgravia is
But
better.
Belgravia is better.
You guys played a gig last night, yeah?
Yes, we did. So if you can hear me and I sound like I'm dying,
No, you've got the nice radio voice on.
that's right. I'm going to do like this.
Yeah.
How was it? Where'd you play?
We played at Amps.
Amplifier Bar?
For,
Nice.
Viper Chain, single launch. Go to hell, check it out.
Yeah,
on the
Viper
socials.
Chain.
And
Cool dudes.
OJ.
I met one of Viper Chain's guitarists when I was loading out of Lynette's Lounge. They just finished playing at the Bird. And I was like, oh, where'd this guy come from? Hey, man, did you play tonight? He's like, yeah, I'm in Viper Chain. I was like, oh, cool. And he mentioned Belgravia. I was like, oh, it's just Perth. It's this small family.
Right.
Like, everyone knows everyone, you know?
It's crazy how it's so small and yet there's still a lot of unseen acts that get
Yeah.
slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
So this is what this is for.
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
That's why we're starting this, because we want to start closing in these circles for music, and not just music, but like anyone in performing arts, like or visual arts, dancers, singers, actors, photographers,
Street
Yeah.
artists.
ColourMind. No.
ColourMind.
Cheers, Jordy,
All the
for rocking the
creatives.
ColourMind shirt.
All the
Love it.
creatives on all different platforms.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's
That's
it.
what it's for. Because
So-
those big things are coming.
Big things coming. Now, the name, right? Surely, like, every musician out there knows the pun, like, big things coming. Big things coming soon.
things coming, guys.
Big things came yesterday.
That's right. Oh, wow. Big things do come. In all
Yeah.
good time. And this is our time to show you guys what's happening.
Exactly. And let's elaborate more on what big things coming is.
Yeah, where did you get the idea from, Johnny?
Well, I was working FIFO in Karratha, and I was working on my own one day, and I heard this talk about like all these venues in Perth closing down. And for me as a musician, and you guys would understand as well, like it's really sad. I understand there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors to make a venue run and operate smoothly. But as a musician, it's like, oh man, not another venue. Like, pretty soon we're going to run out of places to play.
Our lifeline.
So what, like, you've got a single coming out. Well, you got to fly to Melbourne to go and do that. What? It's not a bad thing, obviously.
course.
Like, all bands want to get out of their hometown, but at the same time, for bands that are starting out, we all need to start somewhere.
Yeah, need a
No matter
platform.
where that stage is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where did Ashes of Autumn start, Mel? Like, can you remember your first gig?
Yeah, it was like the 18th of January, 2019 at
Wow.
Amps. Yeah.
The date.
Yeah, I remember it.
I was there 3,000 years ago.
It feels a bit long ago. But.
Where'd you play?
So it was at Amps.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, a great place to launch a band.
Yeah,
it's just a
absolutely.
For the
great
first show.
stage.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I think it was with Electric State as well.
Oh, killer.
So,
Legends.
it was it was awesome.
Electric State boys.
Yes.
We love you.
We do.
Hopefully talk to you guys soon as well.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was an interesting sort of put together at the time because I was called up by the then drummer, and he had known Rob from Electric State, and he was looking for a singer. So when I first was talking with them and listened to their EP, it was so punk. And I was like, no, it's not. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me as a vocalist, like I it's just like, nah, it's not going to work for me. But he was like, come down, have a jam, just learn a few songs off the EP and just come down and have a jam. So I was like, yeah, okay. So I went down and just re-sang them in a way that I felt comfortable doing that.
Yeah. Gave it the Mel vibe.
Whatever that is.
Gave it the melody.
Oh, snap.
Jordan pun. Number 1.
All right, we're going to keep score of Jordan's puns today, all right, guys?
All right, I'm telling it now.
We've got
there's
our
one.
amazing team in the back scenes as well. We've got Fiona Berardini here. We've got Peter Renzullo. And we've got the amazing Cam sitting back there chilling. I think we're all hyped up on lollies. As
Absolutely.
Well.
Sorry, continue the story.
What was I saying? Yes, so I went down and put the melody in the spin. So, and then I was talking with them, it was cool, and we just gelled. So it was like, let's do this.
Beautiful.
So we did it.
Yeah.
And then as the incarnation didn't stick long, we had interchanging members, and it was just like, oh my God, what the hell?
Yep.
But then we found like some stability, and we're just playing around, and then, as you know, changes happen and new people come in and out. And then I became more of a, I guess, a member of the writing crew, because I wasn't until that point.
Yeah.
And
it's an amazing feeling when you release a song and it's like, man, I wrote part of that, you know, like for ColourMind, it was my first original band, right? Like, because I was in a couple of cover bands prior, and that's kind of what fueled my motivation to get something original going. And
When did you start exactly?
someone asked me this the other day, like it's all a blur now, because, you know, you do one release, then another interview, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, when did we start again? We started writing, I think it was 2020. It was like
during COVID?
mid-COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I put the feelers out, and I hooked in Matt Wenke, like our drummer. And
boy.
the idea was we were just going to do like a Green Day cover band, you know, just gelling, you know, playing songs that we love.
Yeah.
Eventually, it was like, yeah, I'm bored of this. Like, I want to do something original. And I started writing Sweet Surrender, like, because I had that riff from years ago, from when I was like 17 years old. Things came, and we got Adam Healy, and then we got Tristan, and we're like, okay, yeah, we've kind of got a groove now. We got the song going, and, you know, things happen, and we've had a change of lineup, and we eventually recruited Jimmy Watson on vocals. We only knew Jimmy for 3 days before we recorded Sweet Surrender at Oracle Sound in Malaga.
That's full on.
Yeah, like he sent me the demo of Sweet Surrender back when I asked him to lay some vocals on it. And I was expecting it in like a week's time or something.
Boom.
Yeah, and he did it within a couple of hours.
The boy is so
wow.
so proficient.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. He's always writing.
Such big words, Jordy.
I know.
Because he's got so much to prove as well, and that's what I love about it. It's like, you know, you set him a task, whether how big or small, and he'll just be like, yeah, boom. And it was amazing. Yeah, it was so good.
Amazing.
Yeah, and we were jamming here at the Henhouse.
Hey,
So
that's
yeah,
where we are right now.
We're Henhouse Rehearsal Studios, Osborne Park. We love this place.
I know. I saw you here a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it was, and you're
I
like,
think that's
they're not going to hear
when
screaming.
it's when Jacob and Steph just joined Ashes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right. It might have been, hey?
Yeah.
It feels like a long time ago now, but it wasn't really that long ago.
No.
But it feels like it.
you blink and already it's 2024.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So how did you guys like get together during COVID?
Well, I think it was on like the downhill of COVID. Like venues were still at like, you know, 50% capacity.
Oh, wow.
There was a lot of restrictions as far as like rehearsing and stuff like that.
Those were crazy times.
But the best
Yeah,
part
right.
was like, you know, the technology that we have now, if you want to record something, $100 audio interface, a guitar and a computer.
Yeah. Boom.
And you can record a demo.
That's a reference.
You then send it to your mate.
Yeah.
Whatever. They're like, cool. And it's rough.
Yeah.
You know, it's rough recording.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they can layer it with their part. So then they send it to the bass player or the drums.
Yeah.
And drumming is probably the hardest part when it comes to recording, whether you're just going to use MIDI samples or you're going to mic up an entire kit, you know, like, but yeah, that's
We
essentially-
auditioned our old bass player during COVID, like on Messenger.
That would have been hard.
On Messenger.
I felt so bad for him. I was like, bro. But yeah, it was fine. But I know what you're saying. It was a nuts time. Nuts.
I think that's also why so many venues are now really feeling the heat. Like, you know, it was hard during COVID,
the
but now the
aftermath,
aftermath, the insurance premiums are through the roof.
Yeah.
And if a band can't, you know, bring at least 100 people to keep those beer taps flowing and whatnot,
Yeah.
they pretty much don't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
That's it.
They don't want to host the night.
It's a
But
sad
you know,
truth.
how like you have to ask the question, how do you get people to come to your gig? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we
It's
have
crazy.
our great supporters in Perth, and like the music scene as a whole is very supportive of one another. But how do you get new people to come and see your band? Like what avenues do you use?
It was actually your drummer, Steph.
Mr. Ideas Man.
Yeah, he and I, we caught up a couple of times, whether it's for Perth United or, you know, the Ashes of Autumn single launch that you did with ColourMind as well.
Yep.
And he kind of he exploded my mind when he said, you know, bands really need to start thinking outside the box.
100%.
It's not just a matter of, okay, we've recorded a single and now we're going to release it. Like maybe 20 years ago, but even then they had ways of advertising their music.
Yeah.
It's a brand and it's something you've put your entire life into. So you want to make it a good release. Like,
but also without the use of the internet and how much it's created the oversaturation of music.
Exactly.
Just really held people down trying to get themselves out there. Exactly. We have to find different avenues and things that'll catch people's attention.
Like,
and I think too, like even with the oversaturation, there is absolute limitation with the internet unless you pay a lot of money for it, right?
It's all about that algorithm. You know? It's like, oh, well, if I pay this $100, I'll unlock the algorithm for a set amount of time. You do what you got to do to get your music out there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just going to hit, you know, submit and that's it and just hope it goes viral overnight.
Yeah.
Like, it won't happen.
That's what a lot of
maybe for 0.1% of the population it might. You know,
but a lot of newcomers think that. They're like, this is the song.
Exactly.
Where's my record deal?
Yeah, and then meanwhile 7 people have viewed it.
Yeah.
You know,
And you're
like,
thanks, Mum.
and then they give up because they're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah,
it's very disheartening, eh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the album launch that ColourMind did, like we suffered from massive burnout because every single day we were channeling all our energy into that release.
And it's not something you can sustain, like, for a long period of time.
No, exactly.
Like, it's exhausting.
I messaged Tom Keeley from Patient 67. Like, this is after the album launch. And I said, dude, like, you're an amazing figure in Perth, you know. Like, why am I feeling, like, depressed? What is this? He said it's post-release.
Post-release blues.
Yeah. And I said, so it's actually a thing. He goes, 100%.
Yeah.
When you're spending all your days just like, how am I going to do this? What should I do here? Oh, this artwork, this sound here doesn't sound right, blah, blah, blah. It all goes into that one day and then it's done.
Yeah.
And now what?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what do I do?
Exactly. I understand that. And I do experience it. I even get it after shows,
Yeah.
you know, after gigs. And because, you know, you put all your, like you were saying, all your effort and your time and you're jamming and you've written these songs and you've perfected them to the point where, you know, now it comes down to playing them. And then you get on stage and you blout it out. And then it's just like, all right. And it's like, what the
That was fun.
Tomorrow's a new day. Everyone just move on with their
You have
lives.
to go back to your life and it's like, oh man. But how do you get over that? Like, what do you do? Do you use it as fuel to make it better the next time, or do you sit there and feel defeated? Because I mean, I know when we had released Refuse to Break, which you guys were a part of for that launch, I was like probably a couple of months after, like I was a bit like, oh, what the hell? Why hasn't this song that means so much to me done anything more?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's the content of it is something that affects a lot of people. It's something that's really prevalent in today's society. Why the hell isn't anybody listening to this song? Is it not good enough?
and that also creates a lot of anxiety within yourself because you start questioning your own work. And I've been like my own victim of this. I'm guilty as charged. Like
imposter syndrome to the max, right?
Like, you know, I put so much energy into this song, but why is this song performing better? You know, like this is the one that I thought would perform the least, but it seems to be everyone's favorite, you know, so to speak. And it's really interesting the way like society views it as well. It's like they'll listen to a heap of your songs and it turns out, oh, that's your favorite. Oh,
right.
I didn't see that coming.
It's
but,
pretty, I have a similar situation with Belgravia.
Yeah.
We had our first 2 singles, Inhale, Inhale and Slim Chances. And then we dropped our third one called Ego Death. And to us, when we perform that song, it's our most like favorite because it's more crowd interactive and fun and chanty and stuff. And at the end, I just break down and start going high. So when we recorded it, we're like, this one's going to be like, because our first two singles did really well, but when we dropped it, it just didn't
hit the mark.
Didn't translate to the audience because I guess it was a bit different from our last stuff because our last stuff was more focusing on the singing and the chorus lines and stuff. But it's you're kind of like, like really like taken back. I thought this was going to be the one because we try to, you guys would know, try to top yourself every time with every release. And when it doesn't happen, you're like...
Someone said to me, like, you're only as good as your last release. So it really depends how much energy you're spending on that release. Like I said, you know, with the album or whatever it is. So now it's like, I know how much energy we put into that album.
Right.
For our next single, I know we've got to either match it or go above it.
Yeah.
So you've got to mentally prepare yourself for like a good solid few months.
It's a freaking marathon, man. It's a marathon, hey? Like you got to prep for that stuff.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I was talking with a friend of mine, and I don't want to be the dropping name kind of person, but they play in a band that's really big in America and stuff like that.
Sure.
And very seasoned. They've been around for a long while. And I was asking him the question, like, how do you get over the criticism or actually not even people paying attention to stuff that you actually feel really strongly about? And he's like, it comes down to when the writing starts. Like you said, you're not writing for anybody else. Like if you start thinking like that, then you're going to start pushing it for other people and you're going to market it in a way that you think they might want. And that really hit home with me. I was like, oh my God, it's so simple but so true. And so even like in the songwriting process now, like I actually literally don't give a crap if people are actually going to like it or not, because it's not their art. They don't have to listen to it. I'd love it if they did, but it's just, it takes that like anxiety and performance anxiety away.
I think people forget that as well. It's like, you know, especially with these big famous artists, like, oh, that album sucked. It's like, yeah, well, they weren't writing it for you.
Exactly. Exactly right. And I was watching, talking about so many things, but on this topic, I was watching like this little 10-minute doco on Chester from Linkin Park.
Oh, yeah.
Just right before he passed away, and how that last album and single was not received well at all. But he was all about like, you know, we're not pigeonholed. Like we are writing in the moment and we're performing it the way that we want to do it. And if it translates to our existing audience, awesome. But if it opens up the doors for other people, amazing. And I kind of think about that a lot too, because, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I don't class Ashes as a genre type. I feel like I want to be that sort of songwriter that explores across the genres.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with sticking with one genre if that's where you're at, but I think
if you were to define like your genre in one type, what would you call it? It's metal, yeah?
She just said she doesn't do that, bro.
That's the thing. Like I can't.
But if you had to,
I can't say it's metal because like it. I mean, I don't know. I call it just like it's melodic hard rock. I think, and melodic because it's got like a lot of melody, which I love. I love a lot of melody.
I think that's the important thing. Like especially because ColourMind are in the same sort of boat. We don't just ground ourselves by one sound,
right?
Like, but we want to be able to like play on a metal lineup. Yeah. We want to play on a punk lineup.
Yeah.
You know,
you boys went all across the board for
your
album.
And that was the idea. Like Perfecting Failure started off, you know, as like this, you know, conspiracy, you know, like the government, whatever. And then it started turning into like love and hatred. And then by the end, it's all, I don't know. I wanted our listeners to go on a journey, you know, and just, I want their emotions to be like, oh, wow, you know, that was cool.
Yeah.
So I did.
Oh, thanks, man.
Did you cry?
I did a little bit.
I thought I saw it.
Happy tears.
Yeah.
I'm loving your music, dude. Like, especially the artwork that you guys have at the moment. Like, your skeleton, dude.
From?
Yeah, so that is actually from a childhood best friend of mine.
Oh.
His name's Jordan. When I moved to Perth when I was 10, went to the same school when I was Jordan. He was Jordan. So the teacher had to differentiate us. So it was JC and JP, and that's when we became friends since then. And then we just clicked back up when we were doing the first single, Inhale. From my partner. She showed me. She was like, "Oh, bro, JC's doing art," and I was like, "What?" Because I remember him back in the day in school doing art. And he started doing his own like label, clothing brand, art thing called Left for Dead. Check it out, Left for Dead apparel. And I just hit him up. I was like, "Bro, I love this stuff, man. Would you be down to do some stuff? And then, so he created the first one, and we've got this little character. His name's Tim Kelly.
Okay.
AKA Tim S. Kelly. Skelly Tim. Skelly. He's a skeleton. Yep.
Love that.
And so we've just continued on with him. We just released our 4th single called The Morning After.
The Morning After, yeah. Like, and it's spelt like the morning as in your mourning for someone as well.
Because that one's probably our like deepest, darkest song yet.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Like the way that you've incorporated, like, you know, your syllables in the chorus, like I was like, man, this is killer.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you guys play that live as well. Was it the Swan Basement?
Yes, our first ever show.
That was our first gig with you guys.
Yes.
And man, I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, all these people coming through, and I was on the door, you know, like taking everyone's money, you know, and taking names, you know.
That's right. So
I started hearing you guys play, and I was like,
wait a minute,
these guys are fucking good. I just got to sneak away from it. And it was coming up to your last song, and you guys belted out this mad breakdown, dude. I was like,
Ego Deaf.
Oh, man.
So that we was, I'm going to give the guys a bit of a backstory.
Yeah.
I'd been doing R&B pop music
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
past decade by myself.
Yeah.
And a few other friends and stuff. And the drummer Brock hit me up. It was going to be, I'd say late August 2022.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, you still sing and stuff? And I was like, yeah, man, I'm just jamming. I hadn't really performed in a long time because COVID and that other stuff all went down. I just took a little bit of a break for myself. And then, he hit us up, started jamming with his friends. People came through in and out. And then it was like we started in September, officially like as a band.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it was like the end of September when Johnny hits me up. Boys, we got a gig. Do you want to jump on it? We hadn't even been a band for a month. We were like,
Yeah.
okay. We only had 5 songs.
But it was incredible, man. It was so good.
So we must thank you so much for that opportunity.
I love
We got
that.
to give a shout out to your cousin John as well,
That's right.
who is actually
JP, the real JP.
my best mate.
Yeah.
I've grown up with him since I was a kid, and he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, bro, can you give my cousin a gig?" I was like, "Yeah." What style are they? Oh, pop punk. Oh, done.
Boom.
Easy.
That was it.
Yeah.
And then to come now to doing a podcast with you guys.
I know,
it's-
right?
Full circle, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now we just dropped our 4th single. And that's like the
Yay.
first batch of songs that we've written. But we've just started our 5-track EP
Yeah.
coming out.
Fantastic.
Hopefully later in the year. So
Do you guys, like either of yous, like, do you think, are you on that side of the coin where you think like, oh, we're just going to do singles and release singles, or do you want to do EPs and drop those, or albums? Because I think like there are so many different views about that in bands. Like I speak to a lot of people and they're like, oh, don't do an album. It's a waste of time. People aren't going to listen to the whole thing. And then it's like, just do singles because they'll just, you know, that reach and it's instantaneous. We live in an age now where everything has to be readily available, like yesterday.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, I don't think there's any hard and fast rules here. Like, I like albums because I like the story.
Yeah.
I like the collectiveness of the music, and it fits together as one kind of story, you know?
I think the rule these days is if you are going to do an album, you still release each song individually as a single because it's all about the hype.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Remember when we were talking earlier, you don't just release a song and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, like you get an album or an EP, whatever, and you start releasing, like you make a release plan, you know, whether it's every 6 weeks, and you build content, you drop it, and then you start
Videos.
sharing it.
Yeah.
And you rinse, repeat for all your singles until you want to release that album at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's like, so this is the big party.
Yeah.
And it works really well.
Yeah, it
It's a
does.
great systematic approach.
It's all about the content, man. You just
Yeah.
keep that hype train rolling because
Yeah.
people's attentions are just...
Yeah, very limited.
5
you
seconds.
know,
Yeah.
very limited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right.
So
I was having a conversation with some people that I know that are not in the industry at all
Yeah.
on any level. They just like music and they just want to listen to it. And it's like,
Yeah.
how do you find new music? And they're like, oh, simply I'll just listen to 10 seconds of the song, and if I'm not grabbed by it, I won't. I'm like, what?
Very
What?
accurate.
Hang on.
What is the rule? Like, you know, it takes like 3 to 5 seconds for someone to figure out if they like something
Yeah.
or not. That's the attention span,
Yeah.
as Geordie
Yeah.
was saying.
the TikTok era.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, dude. Don't get me started. It's like
Doom scrolling.
Scroll.
3 hours
scroll.
later.
Yeah, like-
3 hours later.
Mine's just full of cat videos.
Oh,
man.
so cats and dogs and
Yeah.
cows.
That's cool.
Oh, and a bit of music as well.
Yes. But no, that is from my point of view, that's the basis of what we're doing here is to join that content
Exactly
for
right.
stuff
Yeah.
that's we find important.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys find important.
Yeah.
But really, I don't really care if you find it important or not.
No, that's it. We're doing this for Perth and
Yep.
hopefully Australia, and you never know. Like we might take this abroad and
Could be cool.
interview some international artists as well. Maybe
Amazing.
You know, you never know what's going
And
to
also
happen.
at the same time, we're having fun.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Big things coming.
Message for the kids. Have fun.
Well, I think that's about all the time we've got for episode 0. Yes, I'm getting the nod from Peter.
Could be great.
He's telling me to get out.
It's been fun, guys.
Yeah, episode
Yeah.
0. We've still got so much more to talk about.
Only just getting started, baby.
Yeah. Get ready for our next guest. Our first guest, I should say.
Yes.
You want to drop a name?
Should we give it away now or?
Nah,
No.
let's get them to fish it out.
That's right. You have to keep watching for more.
Yeah, big
Dun,
things
dun, dun,
coming.
dun.
Coming. Peace.
Peace out, guys.
See ya.
Bye.